Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing something that I've been putting off for the last 3 years, and that is insulating my garage door. Yeah, so for over the last 3 years, I haven't had any sort of heating or any type of insulation in here, which really sucks because we do see temperatures of about 20 and 30 degrees. Sometimes in here, it could get like around, 20, 10 degrees. So it gets really, really cold. And when it's that cold, I don't actually work, which sucks because I want to get work done. But regardless, this is the year that I'm going to put some insulation, and hopefully it'll help me to be able to run a heater in here to at least keep it around 60 degrees, 55 degrees, because I really, really want to work outside, and it just sucks when I can't because of the weather. So yeah, let's get to it. I'm actually going to start around the corners of the garage before I get into the garage door, because I have some spare insulation that I used in previous projects, and this is what I have right here. This is the wool insulation. There's about a 9-inch gap in this corner, probably stacked like this will be my best bet to cover all the edges around the garage door. So we're gonna do that before we get into the actual garage door, and yeah, let's speed through that. Now, as far as how I'm cutting this insulation, it's pretty straightforward. I'm measuring from here to here. I see that it's about 12 inches. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this little hacksaw right here to cut up from the larger wool insulation, just get it to the exact 12 inches. This is about 12 inches, and then I just put it right where it belongs, right here, until it fits nice and snug. And then I'm just gonna keep doing that, repeating it all the way up until I fill up the whole cavity right here. Okay, so I picked up more of this R15 rock wool insulation, and if you guys are planning to do this project, I'll add a link to the description. So if you guys plan on doing this and want to support the channel, then please use the link down below. But anyways, let's open it up and continue. Oh, and one more thing I forgot to mention, there is a gap between these two studs right here. So I'm gonna be using this Great Stuff Gaps and Cracks and just spray a bit of foam insulation right in between there, and then place the final layer of rock wool insulation right here. So let's do that. It's been about 2 weeks since I installed the wool insulation up above, and now it's starting to get a bit cold outside. We're currently at 36 degrees Fahrenheit. In the garage right now, it feels about 52 degrees. So what we're gonna be working on today to hopefully, keep this warm is to actually install some insulation on these door panels. Now, there was a few options that I looked at. There was the fiberglass insulation, and then there's the rigid board insulation, which I think for me, I could fit about 1.5 inches worth of insulation in here, which the one I found at Home Depot was about an R7.5, 1.5 inch thickness, which I think will work perfectly for this. Now, I did weigh out my options. I think the fiberglass option was more soundproofing, but I just really care about being warm in here because it does get pretty cold. So I'd rather keep it warm than really any sort of soundproofing. And with that being said, I picked up about 4 panels of the 1.5 inch insulation board. We're gonna cut these to size and try to get them fit in there snug. Height, we're looking at about 20.25. For the length, we're looking at about 73.75. Make you change. All right, so this was actually a bit tricky to cut. All right, so this didn't fit. It's a little too wide from this side. All right guys, so we pretty much got this nice and snug into here. I'm actually gonna add some bit of spray foam insulation up above in the gaps around the corner to better hold it into place. Okay, and for some quick context, it's currently 24 degrees outside, and right now inside it's reading 45.7. And we'll see over the next few days how the insulation performs and if it actually is warmer in here without actually running a heater. So we'll see. Quick update, it is currently 30 degrees outside and exactly 46.9 degrees inside. So I'm just gonna assume it's working because yeah, it's actually not that cold. I'm like in a light sweater, so. All right, so we pretty much wrapped up putting insulation board on all the cavities of the garage door. Honestly, it looks all right. I mean, it looks kind of crappy here because of the damn spray foam that I sprayed. Like, I mean, it looks kind of bad, but not a huge fan of the purple. So I'm thinking of putting some black poster board just on these, just to cover up the purple and cover up any imperfections here, and then just clean up some of the spray foam that's on the rails here. We're gonna move on to insulating these windows. All right, so like I said, we're gonna be using some black poster board in order to mount it onto here, and then we'll just tape it through the outside. There we go. We have all the windows covered. Things look good. Now let's work on insulating that gap. As I mentioned, I am going to be using the fiberglass insulation kit just for that top row. I debated a bit if it was necessary or not. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. I'm already there, so let's go ahead and open this up and then cut it to size. All right, guys, there we go. We fully insulated the garage door. I think this is gonna be, great enhancement to the garage space. So I'm pretty excited. And I know I've been queuing like how cold it is outside versus in here. Right now in here, it's 50 degrees. Outside, it's about 35, 34 degrees. So, it's pretty decent in here, not that bad. So maybe in the future I'll add a heater and, at least I know my air won't escape. So pretty happy about that. Also, one more thing that happened was that the door is actually pretty heavy to lift on its own. I think it'd be too much stress on the motor. So we're actually gonna wind up the springs about 2 quarter turns, possibly, because it is pretty heavy. It was also heavy before. So yeah, I did install these springs previously, so I kind of have experience there, but I wouldn't recommend doing this. I'd recommend calling a pro because that was actually one of the projects that I never want to do again. But here we are giving them a bit more attention. But yeah, so we'll wind that up and see how it goes up. Okay, so a few things. It's been a month since I've had this setup installed, and honestly, it's worked pretty good. It has kept it warmer, has kept it colder inside the garage. I also installed some more insulation up on the top portion of the wall, which just used some board insulation. Now, the part I missed was the ceiling, and of course, that's where most of the heat is lost. You know, heat rises, so I'm pretty sure most of it is being lost up there. With that being said, that's probably for another video. Right now, you know, I just wanted to focus on this wall. I do have one comment on this though. I don't have a heat source in here. So what happens is that the cold air actually does get trapped in here pretty dang well, because it's actually colder in my garage than it is outside. Now I get the sun directly from my garage door, but since it can't get in, it's way colder inside. That's one thing I noticed. So it kind of sucks in that way. So I have to open my garage door, let some hot air in, and then I close it, and then it keeps the warm air in pretty well. I will say that. Again, it's just something to keep in mind. And if you guys are interested in doing like this, I will link everything I used in the description below. Again, they're affiliate links. If you guys want to support the channel and want to do this, then definitely use them down below. But other than that, if you guys enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one.